I have two great budget decks that you can start using in Hearthstone right now. Hey, thanks for checking out the channel. My name is VENGADRAGON, and these two decks that I got for you today are really good. This first one is an Aggro Paladin, which does great against everything in the meta, and you won't believe the win rates. Against Demon Hunter, it's 77.2%. That's its best matchup. Its worst matchup is only 49.6%, and that's against the Warlock class. A lot of players are still playing Warlock, but the numbers have come down a little bit. You're seeing more Demon Hunters, you're seeing more Druids, and one of the great things about this deck is that it is absolutely cheap. It's only 2,560 dust, and with a better than 50% win rate against almost all the classes, it can't really go wrong. Now let's get into the mulligans for this deck. You really want to have something like Crab Rider, First Day of School, Hand of Adal, Knight of Anointment, Murgur Murgurgle, and Righteous Protector. Now, the reason why you want to have these is because you want to establish some early game presence, and the nice thing is that if you get something like Crab Rider, you can put Hand of Adal on turn 3. You also can have a very sticky minion in Righteous Protector that will stick on the board and stay around until turn 2 to really put this combo of Hand of Adal on there. Hand of Adal is a great card because it not only gives you the buff, but it also draws a card which allows you to continue the tempo plays and keep your aggression up. Some advice that I could give to you on this deck is that you shouldn't force the Hand of Adal combo trying to get it on Crab Rider. You really always want to try to complete your turn with having a minion on board and look for a reason to hit the hero power. The reason why this deck is so cheap is because it has 14 common cards, it has 6 rare, it has 8 epics, and only 2 legendaries. With most of the cards coming from the core set, or even they're just really value cards, it's really cheap. It's a great deck to use. You'll get some wins, you'll have some fun, and most importantly, you'll be able to play Kazakus in this one too. All right, so the next deck up is Control Priest. Yeah, I said it, a priest that's cheap. This one's 2,680 dust and has a positive win rate against most of the classes. Your best matchup is Demon Hunter, and your worst really is against Warlock. Good news though, not as many people are running Warlock right now, so you may not face as many of those. It's pretty much an instant concede for you, but if you want to grind it out and give it a try, you'll have a 22.9% chance of pulling out a victory. But when you can beat Paladins 55.3% of the time, you're looking at something that will work pretty well in the meta. There's a lot of players that are still playing Paladin, of course, because it's got almost a 65 or 75% win rate. But if you run into that occasional priest or also a rogue, which is pretty popular in the meta right now, you should have a 57.9% win rate against the priest and a whopping 72.7% against the rogue. So let's get into the mulligans for this one. The mulligans for this deck are simple: Holy Smite, Sethek Veilweaver, Mancrick, Wandmaker, Venomous Scorpion, and Insight. You get all of these cards in your opening hand, you have a very, very good chance of overwhelming your opponent and controlling the board. Venomous Scorpion is great to generate a spell that should get you out of a tight jam, maybe on turn 3 or turn 4. Mancrick is always playable on any turn, and Sethek Veilweaver is something that you can use to generate more spells. You can also use Holy Smite to pop off some early aggression from your opponents. So this deck really has the elements of control, and then if you can corrupt Insight, you can draw a very cheap minion and just continue the process over and over. So the real point of this deck is that you want to get some minions on the board early just to establish a presence. Then you want to reduce the cost of all of your spells in your hand with palm reading. So you get all the minions in, you start shaping your hand and just putting together a big hand, establishing a little bit of a board presence, reduce the cost of a minion drawn with Insight, and then also reduce the cost of your spells with palm reading. You're looking that you're going to control the board and potentially win the game just by grinding down your opponent. You have lots of answers and you have the ability to just overwhelm and swarm your opponent. The reason why this deck is so cheap is because it has 16 common cards, it has 7 rares, it has just 4 epics and 3 legendaries. Most of the cards come from the core set, or you already have them for free, but the legendary that you gotta craft is Kazakus. And today the theme is all the decks are fun, they're budget, and they have Kazakus in them, and you know that I love Kazakus. You can check out the other videos that I do on this channel with Kazakus and how I talk about how great the card is. It just makes for fun games, it also makes for cool decisions, and the card is super powerful. It's definitely a must craft. So having said that, if you like this video and this type of content, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that I can provide you more videos just like this. And until then, I'll see you next time.